Yo, peoples, Kyushu92 here with something a little bit different today. As those of you who follow One Piece may know, this month represents the 20th anniversary of the serialization of One Piece. Now, there are some people out there right now, like some One Piece reviewers and reactioneers, if that's even a word, who are currently doing certain things for the next 20 days since it's the 20th anniversary. And I figured I'd give it I figured I'd try my best at it. I mean, I know there's a lot of people doing different things, like their first introduction to One Piece and things like that before. So I figured I would give my own 2 cents on One Piece for me. And these videos are not going to be very long. They're probably just going to be like short snippets, maybe 5, maybe 6, maybe 7 minutes at the most, because I'm not going to drone on too long. But I wanted to start out as day one, I wanted to start out by talking about my first introduction to One Piece. Now, in the year 2004, this was when my family was stationed in, I want to say it was Louisville. We were stationed in Germany a little bit because my dad was deployed to Afghanistan during the first year of the war that happened after 9/11 happened. So my family was stationed in Germany, and we stayed there for maybe a couple of years, and then we came back to the United States. And we lived in Oklahoma for a little bit, and then we moved to Louisville. That's when I first got introduced to One Piece. And you guys can pretty much guess which version of One Piece I was introduced to in that year. Yes, it was the 4Kids dub. Yayo, 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 ho ho. So, at the time, I had no idea that they had, I didn't even know what a Japanese anime was around that time. I mean, I seen Pokemon when I was really young, when I was a kid, going over my grandmother's house. I would watch that from time to time, but I didn't know what a Japanese anime was. And at the time, I didn't even know that there was a Japanese version of One Piece. So for that entire maybe year and a half of watching the 4Kids dub of One Piece, I literally thought I was getting the best version of One Piece. I didn't know about the Japanese sub version or the uncut ones with all the blood and the cursing and everything. All of that was completely cut out in the 4Kids horrendous dub. I thought I was looking at the best of it. So, mind you, when I was watching all of these episodes, I was just like, wow, this is awesome. And at the time, I got introduced to One Piece through the anime. At that point, I didn't even know what a manga was at that time. So, I didn't even know about the One Piece manga, and I just started watching the episodes, just like watching them every time they came on, every Saturday or whatever weekday they had them on TV. And I was just watching them, and I was like, wow, this is awesome! Despite the but incredibly cheesy voice acting and the visual gags that they use to cut certain things that, like in the uncut Funimation subs and dubs that they normally would kept in, they cut that stuff out. I didn't really pay it any mind, but I just found like a lot of the things that they said from time to time to be a bit strange when I watched it. So, a couple years roll on, and I'm still watching the One Piece dub, and my family moved around a little bit more, and then I started hearing tales of a Japanese version of One Piece. Like, this was during the early years of when I first got introduced to, oh, Japanese sub is better, no, English dub is better. That's when I first got introduced to the Japanese dub, well, Japanese sub of One Piece. And I started watching a little bit of it. Like, I watched, like, the first episode of One Piece through the Japanese sub version. And I started enjoying it a little bit more, like it had all the blood and the straight-up violence that One Kids was completely omitting back here. And I just thought, wow, I've been watching the 4Kids version this entire time, and I could have been watching this. So I started watching it a little bit, and then I believe I've watched. I believe for One Piece, the 4Kids dub, I watched it all the way up until their final, I want to say final arc for the 4Kids, which I think was the Rainbow Mist arc, the Rainbow Mist episodes. Those were the last episodes I watched, and I completely caught up from One Piece all the way to there, and then I started watching One Piece from that point all the way up until now. I still need to catch up on a couple of new episodes that are that are up right now, such as the Whole Cake Island arc. I still need to catch up on that, but that was literally like the best at the time for me. That was literally like the best representation of One Piece, but I had no idea how bad it was until I started looking back on it like years later, after looking at the Funimation version of One Piece and then looking at the 4Kids version of One Piece. I could not tell you how appalled I was at looking at it. I mean, the voice acting, the narration, the constantly droning stock footage music going on in the backgrounds. Like, there was literally rarely a moment in any of the episodes where there wasn't any music going on. And there was no original One Piece music that went along with anything. Important moments inside of the 4Kids episodes were completely omitted and removed, so there was a lot of plot holes. There were a few voice actors in that show that actually did good, but their voice direction was horrible, at least the lines that they were made to say, such as Crocodile, for example. I actually thought that the 4Kids version of his voice was actually kind of good, but the delivery of some of his lines that he had to say was less than stellar. So, it wasn't. Later on, like years on, I'm getting back to present now, years on, I started reading One Piece. And I know some of you may get me for this, but I started at Punk Hazard. I did not start at number 1. I corrected that mistake. I went down to my local bookstore, and I'm starting to get 1 all the way up to, what is that, 60, all the way up to 60. Trying to get the ones from the first issue of One Piece all the way up till 60 so I can do it right. But I did not start at number 1 like I probably should have. I started at the Punk Hazard arc, and that's when I was like in the middle of the time skip. Like, I heard bits and pieces about what happened in the past. I seen a couple of videos, but I figured I would watch it from the beginning and then read it from the beginning and catch all the way up. So, I started at the Punk Hazard arc, and then I just continued on from there, and it wasn't until maybe around the tail end of the Dressrosa arc, leading into Whole Cake Island, that actually... Here's the thing about One Piece for me. It's actually inspired me to do a lot of things, and one person who a lot of you may know, who is actually the inspiration for why I do the reactions and all the reviews, he's actually the inspiration of why I felt like this is something that I want to do, is Rogers Base. I mean, I watched his videos for years, and I just looked at it and said, like, wow, that's actually pretty cool. Maybe that's something I could do one day. Now, here's the thing. I'm not saying that I looked at what Roger Base did and now I'm copying what he's doing. No, Roger Base is on a completely different level. But I felt like this is something that I would have fun doing for me. And that's when I started doing the live reviews of doing One Piece. I mean, One Piece is like one of my favorite mangas ever. I mean, I grew up watching it, even though it was a 4Kids dub, but after reading it all the way up until now, it's just like there's so many twists and turns in the manga as a whole that it just continues to surprise me, if you guys haven't seen already. So after so many years of growing up with the 4Kids, then moving on to Funimation, and just realizing just how far this series has come. I mean, from 1997 all the way up to 2007. That's like a long time, and sorry that my face got dark, my light dimmed out. But it just amazes me how far this manga has come. It's not like oh, it just had like a good couple of chapters and then it fizzles out. No, like it has consistently good chapters. I might introduce this to my sisters one day, but they're not much of manga or anime readers or watchers, so I probably might lose them on that one. But I'm just gonna end it with this. One Piece like changed my life. Like a lot of the mannerisms from the characters, I've sort of unconsciously, and I don't know how, unconsciously adopt them into my own self. Like a lot of people, I'm trying to put it into words, but Amado Kizaru's like calm demeanor, that's something that I've sort of picked up. And it's been something that I held for a long time. I've even sometimes forgotten that he sort of imprinted his mannerisms on me. So it's sort of strange. I mean, I get called weird because of it, or like strange due to how calm I tend to be on certain situations. Now, this is what people tell me. I'm not boasting or anything, and if I am, please forgive me. That is not my intention. But the mannerisms of Kizaru, like, they actually help. I mean, like, when I worked at Best Buy, and I worked at Best Buy for 5 years, that calm demeanor came in handy. I mean, you need to be calm if you're working in retail. So that helped me out so much during the 5 years that I worked there. And then I'm at another job, and I got to still have the same mannerisms again. And it's just sort of the way, I mean, I looked at Kizaru, and like, he's so smooth, he's so suave, he's so calm all the time, even though he's an admiral trying to take down pirates and everything, especially the Straw Hats. But it's just that the way some characters can impact you in this One Piece series is, it can really impact you. Not just by shock value from certain chapters, but emotionally. Like, a lot of people, like, y'all know, if you've seen my reaction to reading the chapter of how Sanji grew up, and if you have not read that chapter, please do, because it's a good flashback to how he was raised, but it's also sort of sad. That is pretty much the only chapter, other than the death of Ace, that actually got me really, really sad, because I have never seen, like, it sent chills down my spine how sad his upbringing was. Like, I never seen an upbringing of that caliber before. Just like, you gotta read it. But if you haven't already, please read it. I can't remember what chapter that is, though. It's 850 something. I forget what it is. Chapter 850 something. But One Piece, and this is worldwide, it has impacted people all over the world. It just amazes me how far this series has come from the days when I was barely in my double-digit age to now blowing up as being one of the best, it's now, as of June this year, it is now with over 416 million copies sold worldwide, it is the best-selling manga series in history. Going over Dragon Ball and going over, it went over something else. It has sold more copies than Dragon Ball and Naruto. And I hope I'm saying this name right. Eiichiro Oda. I hope I said his that first part right. Please forgive me, and please correct me if I said that wrong. Eiichiro Oda, he has done so much for this series, and as far as we know, we're still a ways off from the end, even though I heard recently that we're, 65% done with the series as a whole. There's still a lot of ends to tie up. So, oh wow, this carried on longer than I expected. But I apologize if I sounded like I'm rambling, but this is like the first video of 20 that I'm probably going to do. I'm going to be talking about different things, different characters, what I would like to see in the future, and I'm going to dedicate. I'm just going to see how this goes, because I actually want to take part in this. And I feel like I'm ready for it. I literally can't wait to talk about these things. But that's all. I pretty much covered as much as I needed to. I mean, there's nothing else I can say about One Piece other than I love One Piece. Eiichiro Oda, thank you for giving us One Piece. Because I would not be doing these reactions if I didn't have One Piece. I'd probably just be playing a couple of games here and there, but One Piece is where most of my energy goes to. So, Eiichiro Oda Sensei, thank you. And I hope y'all enjoyed yourselves. I apologize once again if I carried on too long. Let me know what your first introduction of One Piece was. What was your first time with One Piece? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video. So as always, later, peoples!